The night sky over Ukraine is supposed to be a ceiling. It's supposed to protect, to quiet, to disappear into ordinary sleep. Instead, it growls. Invisible engines carve jagged paths above apartment blocks. Sirens chase their own echoes down stairwells. In the black between street lamps, you can hear tiny propellers. And then the heavy ones, the kind that carry guidance packages and warheads. Crews stare at screens until their eyes water. Fingers hover over launch safeties. In the distance, a substation coughs, flares, and dies. Another transformer is hunted. Another block goes cold. The sky itself feels like it's turning against Ukraine. But something has just changed over that sky. It's British, and it is very specifically aimed at making this winter offensive fail. London has just signed off on a package so big and so focused on the skies that Russia's entire winter strategy is suddenly in danger. The United Kingdom has announced an urgent new air defence package for Ukraine, worth over £500 million, approved in February 2026 and timed for the teeth of Russia's winter strike campaign. This isn't a hazy pledge or a press conference mood. This is a concrete, targeted air defence surge. The package splits into two massive pillars, roughly £150 million into NATO's PURL mechanism to rapidly buy US-made air defence interceptors for Ukraine, think Patriot and other US stockpiled missiles, and about £390 million for 1,000 British-made lightweight multirole missiles, LMMs, rolling out of Belfast and built to kill drones, cruise missiles, and low-flying aircraft. On top of that, Britain is continuing deliveries in the coming months, 1,200 more air defence missiles and 200,000 artillery rounds as part of the wider UK pipeline. All of this is laser aimed at the night war over cities and power stations. It is not more of the same. It's a deliberate attempt to seal gaps and harden the grid. If that sounds legitimately insane for a single announcement, that's because the mechanism behind it is quietly revolutionary. Europe isn't just sending whatever it can find in a warehouse. It's wiring money into a NATO buying machine designed to acquire precisely what Ukraine says it needs at the speed the war actually moves. That's the structural change. This is industrial scale, pooled procurement with military purpose, not charity with ribbons. Before we zoom in on the hero missile, let's decode the invisible game changer, PURL. The Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List is a NATO-coordinated mechanism where European allies and Canada put cash into a common pot to buy mostly US equipment, Patriot interceptors, HIMARS munitions, other scarce items, then route them directly to Ukraine. NATO identifies packages based on Ukrainian priority lists and what the US can provide in volume. NATO coordinates sourcing and logistics, contributors fund the lot. In plain English, Europe pays, NATO buys, America ships. Fast. The UK's new £150 million injection isn't a press release number. It's a fast pass to US missiles that keep lights on and apartment blocks standing. This is also London's first PURL contribution, which matters politically and practically. Because the pot is rapidly scaling into the billions. Why does that matter more than the raw figure? Because under PURL, the bottleneck isn't the will to donate things. Europe's cupboards are pretty bare after 2 years. It's the ability to pay cash for weapons sitting behind American fences. PURL turns Allied money into American inventory arriving in Ukraine in predictable $500 million tranches, which is a vastly better rhythm than panic buying after a blackout. Throw the UK's £150 million into this pipeline, and you compress delivery timelines for Patriot interceptors and other US munitions by weeks or months. In a winter defined by saturation attacks, weeks are the difference between rolling blackouts and rolling back Russian aircraft. It's the administrative equivalent of removing 3 roadblocks in one move. Now, the missile you're going to hear a lot about, the lightweight multirole missile. LMM is Britain's every night interceptor. It's small, precise, and mean, designed to shred low-flying threats that try to slip under radar fences. Think of it as the disciplined bouncer at the door. Drones, cruise missiles, low flyers, helicopters. If it shows up uninvited and it's in range, LMM escorts it out of the sky. The UK is buying 1,000 of these at record scale in a £390 million deal with production in Belfast. This isn't symbolic. It changes the nightly equation because it expands the number of affordable shots Ukraine can take against cheap mass. And it can do it from multiple mounts: tripods, vehicle racks, naval pedestals, and Rapid Ranger-style systems that the UK is helping to field with Ukrainian industry. When you stitch hundreds of these missiles into a layered grid around cities, power plants, and frontline brigades, you force Russia's drones and low-altitude cruise missiles into zones where surviving becomes extremely unlikely. It's not classified range charts, it's simple math. More angles, more tubes, more shots, fewer successful inbound kills. Two details make the LMM story bigger than a big number. First, the missile's flexibility. LMM, often called Martlet in Royal Navy service, has been proven from helicopters and from land mounts in a surface-to-air role. It's laser-precise and purpose-built to defeat small, nimble targets that waste expensive interceptors. In trials, British crews have used LMM to smack target drones out of the sky day and night, and the missile's compact, lightweight form factor makes it easy to move and easy to reload. Exactly what you need when your adversary is flooding the air with cheap Shaheds. Second, industrial geography. Belfast builds them. That means surge capacity close to home and political durability in London. If you wanted a British missile designed to count nightly kills while sustaining production, you'd pick this one. Let's talk no escape in a narrative way. Russia's winter raids tend to split into two categories: slow, noisy swarms that try to soak up your cheap ammunition, and smaller, faster packages threading nap-of-the-earth routes to hit substations and peaker plants. LMM is tailored for that second group and can chew on the first. You don't need to quote a secret range. You build layered boxes, manpads and guns at the very bottom, LMM in the short-range cage, medium-range systems tying it together, and Pearl-funded Patriots watching for ballistic and high-end cruise threats. The goal isn't perfection, it's attrition. Force the inbound wave to lose so many bodies in those boxes that what gets through can't cripple an entire city block. No escape isn't a number, it's a design philosophy for the grid. LMM, bought 1,000 at a time, is the brick you lay over and over until the wall holds. Is this just a single night sugar high? No. The LMM buys lives inside a wider pipeline that keeps Ukraine's air defense and artillery ecosystems breathing. Britain is simultaneously pushing 1,200 more air defense missiles, feeding existing UK-supplied launchers, and moving 200,000 artillery rounds in the coming months. That matters for the Sky War more than you think. Artillery suppresses Russian launch sites along the front, chews up S-300/400 batteries forced to move, and keeps Russian brigades from massing where glide bomb trucks need to operate. Air defense without artillery is a shield with no spear. Artillery without air defense is a spear under a rainstorm. This package feeds both. Put the mechanics aside and look up. Russia's strategy this winter is brutally simple. Break the energy grid, exhaust the morale, slow the factories, and make every evening a lottery. The numbers are savage. In January alone, according to President Zelensky, Russia launched more than 6,000 attack drones, around 5,500 guided aerial bombs, and 158 missiles at Ukraine, much of it pointed at power and transport. In early February, Russia hit energy infrastructure nationwide, with hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles, forcing emergency blackouts and heating cuts across multiple regions. This is the air campaign Britain is answering. You don't match this with speeches, you match it with interceptors, mounts, and money that buys time. So how does each piece in London's package actually translate into fewer explosions after midnight? Start with PURL. NATO's scheme was built so that when European warehouses run dry, Ukraine can still get American interceptors in bulk. Rounds for Patriot batteries are the obvious prize, because Patriots are the best thing on earth against ballistic trajectories, and because plenty of the missiles Ukraine needs are behind US fences. The UK's £150 million contribution immediately grows the pool that pays for those rounds and other US kit. And because NATO coordinates the shopping list with Ukraine's command and the US inventory, you're not guessing, you're buying the exact thing the Air Force in Kyiv says it will fire next week. That's how you turn a check into a blackout averted. Then the LMM tranche. 1,000 missiles is not a boutique order, it is an intent to fill racks. If you've watched Ukraine's defenders at 3 AM, you know what matters most is affordable volume aimed at the right altitude band. A layered LMM belt around a city doesn't eliminate the threat, but it does delete the cheapness advantage Russia has relied on. Imagine an incoming wave that used to cost Moscow $2 million and Kyiv $10 million to defeat. Now flip it. Multiple low-cost shots for every inbound, fired from light vehicles and tripods, guided fast enough to take the wind out of a Shahed swarm, and the lower skimming cruise missiles that used to slip through. If you're in the bunker counting beans, this is how you reverse the math. One modest British missile at a time. The Rapid Ranger angle deserves a moment. One reason LMM is attractive is how fast you can bolt it to a chassis, tie it to a compact radar or electro-optic director, and feed it from a small command node. The UK has been quietly helping Ukraine stand up exactly that kind of mobile, short-range air defense, and this new package points to deeper collaboration, including transferring production and support for these launchers into Ukraine. Yes, that's industrial, boring on paper, but boring is what wins. Fewer trips across borders, more spares, faster swaps, and Ukrainian technicians trained to keep these racks up at 2 in the morning when a cable fails. This is how aid turns into capacity. And the wider pipeline, it keeps the Skynet from collapsing after a hard week. Those 1,200 extra air defense missiles replenish stocks that take a beating during mass raids. Those 200,000 artillery rounds make it harder for Russian units to stage glide bomb runs with impunity or camp cruise missile truck routes just outside counter-battery range. When you see an announcement like this, don't imagine a single pallet at an airfield. Picture a conveyor belt. London's point is that the belt keeps moving. If you want the strategic frame, here it is. Russia's winter plan hinges on the air war more than the trenches. The Kremlin wants darkness, cold, and long repair lines. It wants mayors explaining why there's no heat and factory managers choosing between lights and lathes. By midwinter, we've seen the tempo. Hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles in single night barrages, deliberately sequenced to confuse radar, exhaust crews, and sneak a handful of killers into the heart of the grid. That works if the defenders' magazines run dry, if interceptors are scarce, and if short-range nets are patchy. Britain's move, plus similar European packages and the PURL stream, narrows those windows. It doesn't guarantee a light switch. It makes a blackout harder to achieve and far more expensive to attempt. Zoom out to 2026 and beyond. Moscow has banked on a tired West, a Europe that argues, and a conveyor belt that sputters. Instead, the UK is co-chairing the Ukraine Defence Contact Group at NATO headquarters, and arriving with hard numbers and a shopping list that fixes tonight's problem, not last year's. That's leadership by inventory. And as PURL matures, regular $500 million packages, coordinated by NATO, funded by European capitals, Russia faces an ugly trade. Burn more drones and missiles for fewer results, or stop. Every time a swarm gets chewed up by a belt of LMMs and a Patriot battery nails the high-end threat, the Kremlin is paying more to frighten fewer people. That's what hardened skies look like. Let's be real about the limits. No package makes the sky safe. There will be nights when a missile slips through and a district goes dark. There will be mornings with scorched brick and blown out windows. But the arc here is clear. Europe is moving from sending stuff to building long-term, structured defense ecosystems with Ukraine. PURL is the money rail. Belfast is the production node. Rapid Ranger mounts and British launchers are the muscle memory. Everything is drifting toward permanence. That is terrifying for a Kremlin that expected 2 winters to break a neighbor and is now staring at a Ukraine whose air defenses are getting thicker, faster, cheaper, and more European by the month. There's also the morale piece, which weapons nerd spreadsheets never capture. A city that expects the lights to come back on by morning fights differently than one bracing for a week of cold. A brigade that sleeps under a tighter short-range umbrella moves with less hesitation. Air defense crews who know they won't be firing their last missile tonight work smarter and shoot cleaner. The UK package isn't a headline for diplomats. It's a night-to-night reality for the people keeping generators alive and kids warm.
One last note on tempo, because tempo wins wars. Pearl's genius is predictable timing. The LMM order's genius is predictable replenishment. Every time Russia adapts, higher altitudes, different approach vectors, bigger mixed packages, Ukraine can adjust within a framework that keeps missiles arriving. That's how you survive a learning adversary. It's also how you stretch his budget until something else breaks. As NATO has said repeatedly, the point is to make support regular and boring. If the nightly skyfight becomes routine for Ukraine and ruinously expensive for Russia, that's not just defense, it's strategy. So here's where we land. The sky over Ukraine is still loud, but it's less empty, it's less indifferent. And because of what Britain just did, it's going to be a lot more dangerous for drones and missiles that think the night belongs to them. Over £500 million of urgent air defense, £150 million wired into NATO's PURL to pull US interceptors off the shelf, 1,000 British LMMs to build the low-altitude kill box, and a pipeline that keeps 1,200 more air defense missiles and 200,000 artillery rounds moving. This is not just another aid headline. It's a turning point in the air war. It says, plainly, we see what you're doing to the grid, and we're going to make it stop working. If you want to know how far this goes, watch the follow-up we're preparing on Europe's Sky Shield effect, the way PURL, the Nordic-Dutch packages, and new domestic production lines in the UK and across the EU are building a long-term roof over Ukraine. And if this breakdown helped you make sense of the gears behind the headlines, hit subscribe and check out our deep dives on Sweden's game-changing air-to-air play and France's legitimately massive production shift. Because the story of this war isn't just battles, it's the factories and funding rails that decide who still has interceptors in February. Britain just put another 100 tons of steel on Ukraine's side of that scale, and tonight, the sky knows it.